Hi, Tim Seckler with the Seckler Law Firm, here answering one of the most important questions or most frequent questions we get in our office, and that is, should you avoid probate? So, what is probate? Probate, by definition, is the administration of your affairs, of your estate, after you pass away through the courthouse. Okay, so there's a legal process by which the executor of your will has to follow to get this stuff to the kids. The reason people talk about avoiding this process, there's several. One is the expense involved. Okay, so the expense involved is generally not necessarily like court fees, it's more legal fees in helping us follow these legal steps that can take 12, 14, 16 months, sometimes longer. Right? So, one reason people want to avoid probate is expense. Second reason people want to avoid probate is that time. Under Pennsylvania law and the way just stuff works here, most estates are going to take more than a year before we're completely finalized because creditors have rights for a year, and it takes Pennsylvania a long time to process tax returns. And so usually this process takes a long time. So there's the expense component, there's the time component, and then there's a privacy component. You know, most of us spend our entire lives trying to stay out of the courthouse, keep things relatively private. And so then why, when I pass away, do I want my affairs to be sort of this public matter with public filings that family members, creditors, nosy neighbors can look up? And then I'll add a fourth to this is a lot of the time it's a convenience factor. If your kids are out of town, if you have real estate out of state, if you have certain things going on in your life like second marriages and whatnot, going through the probate process can result in headaches that we otherwise might want to avoid. So if those are relevant to you, then you may decide to do something to avoid probate. And there's a couple of different ways to do this. The first is a thing called a beneficiary designation. You could put beneficiary designations on your accounts. But that's probably, at least in my opinion, not the best way to do it, because with an effective estate plan, we answer questions like, what happens if my child is disabled? What happens if my child or grandchild is underage? What happens if my kid dies before me? What happens if my spouse is disabled? What happens? We go through this series of questions with you to try to determine what are the things that could really get in your family's way. And it seems to me that you cannot answer those questions well with a simple beneficiary designation. So if we really want to do good planning for our money and our family, beneficiary designations aren't really the way to do it. But if we want to avoid probate and do that good planning, this is why people end up using trusts. We do a couple of different types of trusts in the law firm, all of which will help avoid probate. And then from there, we go through a more deep analysis of, okay, if you want to avoid probate, then what's the best way to do it? And there's a couple of different types of trusts. Do we want to do tax planning? Do we want to do nursing home for asset protection purposes? So if we're going to be doing trusts, then we turn to which trust makes the most sense for you. But all in all, should you avoid probate? Well, that's really a question only you can answer. It seems to me, though, that a lot of families are going to do this at least partially, and so let's do a comprehensive plan to answer not only the who gets it when I pass away, but the other important questions like, what happens if I get sick before I pass away, and what happens if my kids are disabled or going through a divorce? So that's what effective estate planning looks like. One component of it probably is avoiding probate, but that's up to you. I hope you found this information helpful, and check out the other materials we have on our website. If you found this information helpful, and if you'd like to know more about this and other legal issues, you should consider attending one of our upcoming estate and elder law workshops, which are free and give you all types of good information. Go to our website, click the link, and schedule today for one of our upcoming workshops.